I'm an expat that has now spent more than 3 years here in Colombia with my wife, and in this video we're gonna go over the cost of living, so what we actually spend living here in Colombia as a couple. Welcome to How to Expat. My name is Sam, and at How to Expat we help expats relocate. This video I'm gonna cover all that you have to know about cost of living here in Colombia. We'll go over what you can expect if you're a newbie expat and what you can expect like somebody like me that has spent a couple of years here in Colombia in terms of cost of living. Of course, one of the biggest reasons why we move as expats to another country is because of the advantages we have with cost of living. So in this video I will cover the most important categories that you see what I spend as an expat here that has been living here for more than 3 years now. I'm also going to give you the gist what you can expect if you're a newbie expat. And important is in this video I'll talk about the view of somebody that is living here as a couple. If you are a solo expat, you can take these numbers I'm going to talk in this video and you can deduct around 30%. Usually what we found, solo expats spend around 30% less than expats as a couple. But you will see the cost of living can vary anyway, so you can take pretty easily these figures here and get more or less an overview even if you're a solo expat. So let's start with the first category, which is accommodation. I personally spend $450 a month for my apartment, but you have to know that you can only get that after a certain amount of time you have been here, because I'm talking about an unfurnished apartment. How to get an unfurnished apartment, especially in Medellin, is not easy. So if you want more info about that, we have a video which is linked in the description down below. But most probably you're gonna spend your first couple of months here in Colombia in a furnished apartment, which usually go from anything between $800 to $1,500 depending on your price range. You can also get something for $500, what we did when we came here to Colombia, but usually then the apartments are not as nice. They may be dark on a lower floor, but important for you to know, you can get something for, let's say, around $500 a month, but usually what we see with expats, they spend around $800 to $1,500 a month here in Medellin, Colombia. Then the utilities, I personally spend around $100 on utilities, so that means we have a contract with an internet provider, and then gas, water and electricity, which sum up for around $100. If you get a furnished apartment, you don't have to worry about that, then it's already covered, which is another advantage of the furnished apartments. But unfurnished, I think it's, yeah, $100 is a fair estimation if you're thinking about utilities here in Colombia. Then another thing is food, so going out and eating out. We actually do that a lot, so with my wife and I, we go on a date night every week. We also like to go out and eat lunch and all of that, and it's very inexpensive and it sets us back around $200 a month. You can get very inexpensive lunch menus here for around $2.50, which is amazing. So it's usually healthy, it has beef or chicken, some kind of sides, a soup and a drink for only $2.50. So you can eat almost every day out for lunch and it won't set you back a huge amount of money. Dinner usually is a little bit more expensive, especially if you, as I said, go on a date night and want to have something nicer. That could set you back $10, $15, maybe even $20 for a really nice meal per person. So if you go out and have a date night, you might spend around $30 for a nice night out. Then another important part is groceries. Groceries sets us back around $250 a month. We like to get fresh fruits. We don't eat a crazy amount of beef or something like that, so that helps us keeping the costs down. We also don't go to fancy stores. We are happy with a little bit rice, sometimes a little bit beef, usually chicken, and then fresh fruit and vegetables. So that's, as I said, this will set us back $250 a month. If you're a little bit more fancy and you like to have some kind of fancy ingredients and all of that, maybe it's $300, $350, but usually grocery cost here in Colombia is very, very inexpensive, as fresh fruit, fresh vegetables are extremely inexpensive. The only expensive things here are produced food, so something like cereal or cookies or something like that, something that has to come out of a factory that is really produced in some kind of way, is usually quite expensive compared to other foods here in Colombia, which is also a good thing because it keeps you healthy, because the inexpensive stuff is also healthy stuff here in Colombia. Before we go to the next category, I just quickly want to mention, if you have specific questions that you want to have answered by my wife and I, we offer expat consultations. So if you want to book an hour of our time and pick our brains, the link to that is in the description down below with more information. We know it really helped the people we already had on these consultations, and yeah, we would be happy to answer your questions as well. But yes, let's go to the next category. The medical, I'm fortunate enough to say that I don't really have too much medical issues, my wife neither, but what we do is we set back around $50 a month for things like doctor's visit, dentist appointment, that of course we don't have every month, but sometimes once in a while you have to go to a doctor, get a check on or something like that, and for that we as a couple set back $25 per person, so $50 in total. And usually there's a lot of money left over there, because a doctor's visit for an hour, for example, is around $30. Teeth cleaning, same thing, around $30. I've been in the hospital, that was around $250. So medical care here in Colombia is very, very inexpensive. Then transportation in Colombia in general, but especially here in Medellin, we have different ways of moving around. We have public transport, we have taxis, and you could buy or get a car. So what actually expats usually do is they go around with public transportation or with something like a taxi or a Uber or some kind of application that way. We spend around $100 a month for that. We use a mix between taxis and public transportation. If we use longer distances, we prefer public transportation, and if it's a little bit smaller, we prefer taxis. We also walk a lot, so for grocery shopping usually we walk. We're doing that, not with any transportation, so that's why we spend around $100 a month. If you have to commute to your play or to your work or something like that, it could easily be more, but I think most expats work from home or they don't have work because they're retirees, so I think $100 a month is a good estimation for living here in Colombia. Then cell phone and all of that is very inexpensive. We pay for a plan that has around 2.5 gigabytes of data, unlimited calls and unlimited text, which we usually don't use because in Colombia everybody uses WhatsApp, and WhatsApp goes over data, so over the internet. We spend around $15 per person, so $30 in total. Then insurance, so I'm talking about health insurance. There's not really other insurance we have here in Colombia. Is $30 a month, and you can only get that if you really have a visa here, so it's extremely inexpensive. It's crazy inexpensive actually. That's the mandatory insurance you have in Colombia. For us, it's around $30 to $50, depends a little bit how you calculate it. For most people it's in that range as well. If you want to get a special insurance on top of that, because the mandatory insurance, which I'm talking about here, is known that it's not the best, you can get insurance for something like $150 to $250 a month, but which covers you very, very well. But we spend, as I said, around, we call it $30, or sometimes it's even $50, depends a little bit, here in Colombia for health insurance. Then just a miscellaneous kind of a other category, which things for our dog, for example, t-shirts, clothing in general, shoes once in a while, all of those things. We spend around $150 a month for that, which leads us to a total of $1,360 that we spend here in Medellin, Colombia, living a comfortable lifestyle, a little bit outside of the usual touristy areas, in a nice neighborhood, which is very, very safe. So I think a lot of bang for your buck here in Medellin, Colombia, what we have. But we can't forget, this is not all that we spent. One of the mistakes I made when planning my expat life is that I read these articles, you can spend $1,500 a month in those countries. But one thing I didn't consider is, for example, taxes, or something like travel, pension, or the cost you have to obtain and maintain the visa, for example. Of course, these are very, very personalized. the amount you travel can vary a lot to the next expat, let's say, or the amount of taxes you have to spend depend a lot. If you are a retiree, you might not have to pay taxes, for example, not do anything there. And if you have a high income, you have to pay taxes. Just want to mention that here, that you keep that in your mind as well when planning your expat life. But as a pure cost of living, I think 1,300, 1,500 is realistic if you have been living in the country for a while. If you're a newbie expat, I would rather plan something like $2,000, maybe $2,500, maybe in the first year you've been here or you are here, with renting not an unfurnished but a furnished apartment, maybe traveling around a little bit more, so having to spend more on transportation and all of that. I think a fair estimate for a newbie expat is around $2,000, $2,500 as a couple. So I'm always talking as a couple. And if you're a more long-term couple, maybe 1,500 is realistic. Again, if you're a solo expat, I would say $1,800, $1,500 is realistic as well as a newbie expat, and you can go as low as $800 a month as a solo expat if you want to live here in Colombia. We also made an interesting video about cost of living here during the quarantine, where we were restricted and where our cost of living was more or less our bare minimum, where we spent around $850 a month, so without transportation, without going out and eating. So you can live here comfortably in Colombia as a couple for just $850 a month, but of course with a lot of restrictions, so not going out to eat, no transportation and all of that. So I just want to quickly mention how our cost of living has evolved over the last couple of years. We did almost every year a cost of living video about our cost of living, what we have, and the first year was a little bit more expensive, but we were extremely frugal there as well. We had a way less or way smaller apartment also that we have right now. Then the next year we got going with our business, and the cost of living, we couldn't spend a lot there either. Then the next year, of course, the quarantine was hitting Colombia, and our cost of living actually went down because we couldn't go out and all of that. And now our cost of living is, as I said, around $1,000, rounded up, $1,500 a month. And that was pretty much, we spent a little bit more in the first year, but the 1,500 pretty much stuck with us since the beginning. So our cost of living didn't really evolve too much. We know from friends we have, usually it's a little bit another story. Usually the first couple of years are more expensive till they get a little bit more accustomed to the prices here, where to shop and all of those things. But for us, weird enough was we had this $1,500 pretty much since the start we have been in Colombia. So I hope this video helped get an idea of what you could expect if you are planning on being an expat here in Colombia. Yes, if you want to support our channel, that we still are able to keep doing those videos, we have a Patreon channel where you could support us and get access to different videos, more personal videos where we talk about more there. And also don't forget about the expert consultation where we could answer your specific questions. Yes, that was it for this video. See you in the next one. We don't eat a crazy amount of beef.